know when, but we'll sort something out because he has said, "Can we do it again?" So we definitely will because obviously we want to speak to Rick because he was I was really interested to hear what he was going to say about the judo and the Olympics and transition to MMA. I think but so it's just one of them. But we'll certainly sort that back out again. But we'll get Dustin on now and we'll speak to Dustin.
Brilliant.
Okay, let's do this now. Have to call right. It's ringing, Dustin. Hi, Dustin. You okay?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Just want to say, obviously, you're on with myself, Ray, and you're also on with my co-host Patrick.
Hey, what's
What's up?
happening, Dustin?
What's going on?
Well,
Hey, just hanging out.
we want to say obviously a big thank you for agreeing to be on the show. We're very pleased to get you on. Obviously, you're a big prospect. You're fighting. Am I right? You fight either flyweight or bantamweight. Is that correct?
Yeah, looks like I'm gonna be sticking at flyweight for a little bit. Bantamweight, is just a little bit too big for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because obviously, the smaller divisions don't always get the credit that they deserve. But I think we're starting to see things change, which is brilliant. We're starting to see the bigger organisations are starting to pick up some of the smaller weight classes, which is obviously fantastic. So we'll jump straight into it then. Obviously, I'm looking over your record. You're 9-2. You're obviously well rounded because you've got four TKOs and four submissions. So just to go straight into it, then, who are you training with, and what camp are you training out of at the moment?
At the moment, I'm up here at Duke Rufus's gym, Rufus Sport. They got all kinds of guys up here training. It's gonna take too long to name them all off, but Anthony Pettis is up here. Eric Koch, Bellator champion Ben Askren. Chico Campus, he just made his debut in the UFC the other night with a victory. Um, Sergio Pettis, Anthony's little brother, he's one of my main sparring partners. He fights at 135. So those are some of the guys, more well known guys that I train with, and then like I said, there's all kinds of other guys there day in day out pushing. So they got a nice crew there.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the camps at the minute that's getting a lot of press and a lot of recognition. I think it's a camp that's kind of come out of, well, not come out of nowhere, but kind of grown over the last few years, and it's certainly one of the bigger camps now that people are talking about. So how did you get involved with that camp?
One of my buddies hooked me up. Was real is still real good friends with Duke, and during my one of my last fights, or a couple fights ago after the Ian McCall fight, I was looking not to go somewhere else, but looking for help with my stand up, and I got offered to come up here and train for a little bit, and say I had to save my money to get enough money to come up here and train, and so as soon as I did that, came up here for about 6 week training camp for a fight that's supposed to be in Chicago. And then Tachi Palace called me with the last minute fight, which was last December, and took that and got the victory. So, it's just a little bit of who to that got me where I'm at right now.
I mean, looking over your record, you've got 9 victories on your record. Have you got a victory that stands out to you, or a favourite victory?
No, I don't really have a favorite victory. They're all, victory is a victory. They all taste good. I don't really have a favorite one. No, I don't.
We were reading recently, there was rumours about you possibly fighting Jeff Curran. Were that, how come? What were where did those rumours stem from? Was there any truth in those rumours?
Yeah, absolutely. It was scheduled. I was supposed to fight Jeff Kern coming up actually August 18th, I believe the date was. A couple weeks ago, got a notice that he pulled out because of an injury. So I'm not sure exactly what the details are on that. That's what I was told. So I was hoping for to stay on the card, which didn't happen either. So I'm not really sure details on any of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely a go, and that was a fight that that would have been my most excited victory right there, to pull out that win, because that's a big name, and that's something that I was kind of looking for at the time.
Yeah, that's a shame because obviously Jeff Curran's been around the sport for a long time and has recently obviously fought in the UFC as well. Which promotion was that with, out of interest?
What was that? I can't even. It's not on the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank right now.
No problem, no problem. And when's your next fight you've got scheduled then, and who's that against?
Actually, all I don't have a fight scheduled right now. All fights are off because of my hand.
Okay.
I got a hand injury. I need to get that back up before I can really say or know for sure when I'm going to be fighting next. I don't want to say something and then the recovery and everything not go as planned. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I'm just going to take the time to recover my hand and do what I got to do right now to get back training. So that's kind of my main focus.
No, I think that's the right thing to do. How did you injure your hand, and what is your hand? What have you done to your hand?
I broke my right hand during my last fight with Thiago Vega. I think it was last Saturday.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's basically what had happened. I was punching him in the side of the head, and one punch after another just didn't feel right. And this is what I do day in and day out, and I know when something's wrong with my body. So after it was about 2 minutes into the first period, uh, I knew something was wrong and started wiggling my fingers as soon as the fight stood up, and I knew it was broke. It's right behind my index pointer finger, so behind the knuckle.
I wonder. That's obviously, like you say, I mean, when there's something wrong, you just got to let it heal, haven't you? I don't really. There's not really a lot you can do with a broken hand. I don't think either, is there, other than just let it. It's just going to heal when it heals. Just rest it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to a couple of different people that have broken their hand, and it's really, yeah, that's all you can really do is just let it heal. It's one of your most important tools fighting, is your hand. So I'm basically just gonna take a couple weeks to heal my body and my hand from the fight, and then basically just go over a lot of mental game, watch video, and drill over and over in my head, how to fight and techniques and things like that. Work on footwork, and I'm gonna stay busy, absolutely, but there's few things that you can do right when the hand breaks. Most important is just letting it heal.
Is this the first time you've broken your hand?
Yeah, first time I've broken my hand. First time I've broken anything. This is really my first huge injury ever. Um, so it's all part of dealing with new things. I got a chance to talk to Anthony about it. He's broken his hand, and his biggest thing was just let making sure I take the time to rest and not doing anything to jeopardize um, or postpone the fighting. Do heal it right so I can get back right.
Yeah. I want to ask you a little bit as well about, obviously, like you say, the main weight you fight at, is at flyweight. I mean, the guys at bantamweight are just like you said, a little bit too big. How did you feel when you finally heard the news that the UFC were going to set up a flyweight division? And have you had any contact with the UFC? Because I know you're one of the higher ranked guys who's currently not with the UFC at the moment.
Yeah, I was excited for sure. That's like, when I first started, I was thinking, fighting 145 just because the littler weight classes weren't there, and then WEC had 35, so it was, looking for 35, and then 25 was never really an option. I honestly just thought I'd have to get big and go at 35. So that's kind of what I was doing, and then as soon as they opened up the 25, it was like music to my ears for sure, getting that chance. So it was awesome. It's huge. It's my favorite weight class to watch just because it's so fast. It's nonstop, and you gotta be the best possible to maintain this weight class, to stay at the top of it. So that was really exciting. I haven't personally had any contact with UFC. I have a couple other guys that take care of that kind of stuff. So my thing is just focusing on fighting and training and being the best, and know that I have that area covered, and mostly let other guys take hold of the business aspect of it, and leading up to fights and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that.
hopefully I'll get the call soon. I would be, that's the thing about the Jeff Curran fight that was most disappointed, because I know he's got a huge name. He was at the top for a long time and in different weight classes as well. So a win over him would have been, a huge statement. I feel like.
Yeah, I think it would have been as well. I think it's a real shame. I'm going to pass you over to Patrick because he's eager to speak to you as well. But before I do, I just want to say one thing. We did actually speak to somebody probably about 8 weeks ago who you actually fought. We spoke to Ian McCall, and obviously he's recently signed with the UFC. And we asked him about the flyweight division and is there anyone out there we need to be looking out for? And he did actually he did mention your name. He said he is someone that he expects to see big things from. And I just obviously, just wanted to say that. I thought that was, quite a nice thing for him to say. But he did mention your name. He did say you were someone that we should look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I fought him. He was the first real tough guy that I fought out of Tennessee, because my first couple of fights were all in Tennessee, and I fought everybody that we could possibly in Tennessee. So my first time to travel, my first away fight was Ian McCall, and it was a good fight. It was a tough fight, and I actually after I lost, I kept up with him because I wanted to see why and what he was doing and how I could get better. And he had a lot of good things to say about me in different interviews, which I thought were obviously really cool, coming from a much more experienced guy than I am. So yeah, that's awesome to hear, actually.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So I'll let Patrick jump in because I know he's eager to speak. So you ready to go, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for giving us the time today, Dustin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Since we're on the subject, I don't really want to go over it too much. But I was watching the Ian McCall fight again last night, and I want to apologize for the California crowd. Your first travel fight, it seemed like there were some real cretins in the crowd last night, and that's just not what we like out here for Southern California MMA. But and towards the end of the second round, and that was by no means a one-sided fight. You were definitely in there. You had a real good, I think it was like a nice push kick you had landed, knocked him down, and that was by no means one-sided at all. But towards the end of the second round, Ian, he had you in some bad spots. I want to say like maybe a mount, and you defended yourself really well, though, especially as young in your career as you are. Was that just training, or is that instinct taking over, or maybe a combination of the both?
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with the tough crowd thing. That definitely was new. I was always hometown hero kind of deal with all my fights, so that was huge. Hearing all the boos and everything, I had absolutely no love during that fight. Which it throws you off, the first time traveling and stuff like that. But no, yeah, he dropped me in the second round, mounted me, and all I remember is just I just did not want the ref to stop it, because I wasn't getting beat up too bad. I felt like, personally, I knew what was going on. I knew I was in bad position, and I had my wits about me. So I just remember telling the ref, I'm good, don't stop it, I'm good. And I just kept moving and moving. I don't really know that you can train for that, because I never had anybody in training just mounted me like that, just beating the crap out of me, trying to finish me. So it's not something you really can learn in training. So I would say it's just the fighter's heart, the mentality, just going out there and giving it everything you have, and having no quit in you, not giving up even when you got a guy pounding your face in from top position. So I think that's just more mental than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. You know, is there any added pressure on you, do you think, to put on exciting fights being in the flyweights? I know perhaps some of the more casual fans are say, oh, I don't watch anything that's 155 or like below 155. Do you feel like you got to go out there and impress them to perhaps give some credence to the weight class, if you will?
No, not really. I've never heard anybody say that. Actually, it's more kind of vice versa. I'll hear more people saying, "Oh, I like to watch the littler guys rather than the big guys because the big guys get gassed out the first round. They're walking around with their hands down. The little guys, it's like the third round is the same as the first round. The action never stops, and there isn't really any added pressure. It's just something that comes natural to me. I go out there and I'm trying to win every position, and when you do that, you have to constantly be a step ahead of the other guy. So you're constantly moving, you're constantly going, and that's just what I do. It's natural for me. So I don't put any pressure on myself to do good. It's just natural for me to be like that, and that's what I love about the littler weight classes. I think that's kind of that goes with everybody. Um, it's just natural for the little guys to get in there and roll like that. So there's no added pressure. I'm not gonna let other people's point of view um, and conflict on how I fight. So.
Oh, that's good, man. That's the best way to do it. And honestly, anyone I'd ever heard say that, just obviously they don't know what they're talking about. It's the same thing like you're saying. You can watch a heavyweight fight that's maybe cool for like 2 minutes, and then everybody's got their hands on their knees and they look like they just got done running sprints. And
Yeah.
I love watching the 125ers. It was actually, I believe, your fight with Ian McCall, I think, was one of the first flyweight fights I had seen in my introduction to Tachi Palace fights. Um, having said that, do you think the flyweight division has grown at all since the UFC has added it? I know it's just been a little over a year, or do you think maybe it's just getting more recognition?
I think honestly it's a little bit of both because you weren't seeing these guys, they weren't getting any recognition, so you really didn't know who they were. You didn't know how many they were out there just because there is no recognition. So the weight class was really just like undercover kind of. Every the guys that were wanting to get recognized, they were in the big like Tachi Palace. They had an established 125. Japan had established 125. So
Right.
those guys were getting recognized for their weight class. But the guys that really wanted to get recognized, like Joseph Benavidez, Demetrius Johnson, those guys were fighting up weight classes. They're in the WEC, they're fighting bigger guys. So a lot of the guys, that are little, they weren't coming into the gym to train because they didn't feel like there's really a future for them. But now that that's happening, now that the UFC has 125, you're seeing littler guys come into the gym signing up. They're going to be the next flyweight fighter. So that's exciting. You're getting more training partners in, and now that the fighters that have been training for the last 3 to 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, they're getting recognized. So yeah, it's developing in a great way. I would go ahead and say so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It looks like there's just a lot of guys coming from all over the place, and like you had said, Japan, they've kind of facilitated that weight class a lot more, and we're seeing guys come over like Arusha Tani and Yamaguchi. He was fighting over there in Tachi Palace fights as well. Um, since we're talking about different promotions right now, you're 2-0 in Strikeforce. What weight class did you fight at in Strikeforce?
Both fights were actually at 125. I believe all of my pro fights have been at 125. Except for my one of the recent ones was at 130. Um, but yeah, I was able to fight 125 there for both fights, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I was doing a little research and I didn't even know that Strikeforce ever had flyweight fights in their organization. Was that something they would just kind of put together on a match by match basis, or?
Yeah, I think because I was on the undercard, and it was they were coming to Nashville. A lot of their things, like media press and that all that kind of stuff, was held at our gym, the gym that I trained at, Nashville Mixed Martial Arts, and so yeah, I had the opportunity. They came and checked out our gym and some of our guys, and they said that I was, pointed out that I was one of the guys that they wanted to fight on their card. So, they got another top contender from Tennessee to come in, and we put on a good show, what I thought. So, yeah, that was a great opportunity both times.
Oh, that's very awesome. Um, well, I just got one more question for you. If I know you don't have a favorite win, but let's say favorite style of win. For example, your win over Forrest Beard, that was a real good performance. Came out, got him down, got the back mount, and you finished it real quick. Do you prefer a fight to go like that, or maybe do you want your fight to go like your last fight with Thiago Vega with a good decision win?
Uh, no, finishing fights is always better. The only thing, the thing I like the most about the Thiago win and like the Josh Rave win is that I got to do a little bit of my stand up, and I was real comfortable during both fights, and I got to let that loose a little bit. But there's nothing better than going in there and taking somebody down and ground and pounding them, or getting a submission, or hopefully one day I get that nice smooth standing knockout. So there's no better feeling than finishing a fight in the first or second. The only reason I like finishing in the second is because you get that first round just to go in there and grind and fight, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I like to do. So first round you go in, knock out, it's like, man, you want to do it again right then and there. But once you get in the second round, then you felt like all that time was worth. You got to have a little bit of fun, but you still got the sweet finish.
Awesome, man. Very awesome. Well, Ray, you wanna jump back in here, bud?
Yeah, I just want to obviously say, like what Pat said, it's been brilliant having you on the show. We really appreciate you giving us your time. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Any, friends or family you want to shout out to? And also let people know how they can follow you on either Facebook or Twitter as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to thank my boy Mike Biggie Rose. I know you guys been talking to him, hooked it up with the interview. Man, that guy's been looking out for me since I've been in Wisconsin. Rufus Sport, they've been helping me out with all my training. Just the guys and the coaches there. It's been a blessing for my fighting. And Diamond MMA, that I got hooked up with those guys. They've been hooking me up since I've been out here. um, gyms back home: Tennessee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Nashville MMA, Franklin Athletic Club. I go there when I'm back home to train, and those guys always help me out too. Um, Follow me on Twitter at Dustin Ortiz MMA, DustinOrtizMMA.com. Check me out, look me up, and Facebook. Go like my fan page, keep up. I post pictures. Keep everybody updated. Dustin Ortiz MMA fan page. Follow me.
Well, thank you very much, Dustin. Hopefully your hand will be healed soon, and we'll see you fighting again. And we'd love to get you back on again in the future as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. I'm gonna take care of my hands best as possible. It's my money maker, you know.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We can't wait to see you back fighting again. So thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks, guys. You guys take it easy.
Cool. See you later.
Have a good one, Dustin.
All right, you too. Later.
Bye. Right, brilliant. Dustin's gone. He was a very good guest. It was interesting to speak to him because I think he's going to have a really big future. He's looked very good so far. I think he's got a real future ahead of him. So it was great having him on the show.
Yeah, it sure was. And I was very surprised when he had said that all of his pro fights have been at flyweight, especially the Forrest Beard fight. That was another one of his, I think, that came back in 2010. And Forrest Beard was quite a large guy. I said, "There's no way that guy's 125. He has to be fighting at bantamweight in this fight." But yeah, that was kind of surprising to hear, and especially the revelation that he had fought under the Strikeforce banner as a flyweight. I had no clue that they ever had flyweight fights.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. It was. I just hope it's nice to see the flyweights finally getting, or the division finally getting the recognition it deserves. I think, and with the UFC behind it, I think we'll start to see that these guys get their chance now in the big shows.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've no doubt we'll see Dustin in there before too long. Hopefully his hand gets healed and he keeps up the winning ways, and I don't think there's any way they can keep him out of there for too long.
I think we'll see him soon as well. I just want to say a thank you as well to Michael Biggie Rhodes. I mean, Dustin touched on it. We spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and so far Michael Rhodes has got us an interview with Eric Koch, and then obviously helped us by setting up this interview as well. So, thank you. It's brilliant. It was brilliant having him on. So just thanks for him sorting that out. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I think we'll look to wrap things up. So this has been your first show as the. I mean, last week you covered, but this has been your first show as the official co-host. So how have you found it?
Oh, I found it to be real lovely, Ray. It's always a pleasure chatting with you and of course all the great guests. We've had a couple technical difficulties, but that's all right. We'll get those smoothed over, and I'm having a ball. I can't wait, and I can't wait to see what we can put together next week.
So you'll be back. I haven't scared you off. You'll be back next week then.
Absolutely.
That's always a good thing.
As long as you and the mental fans are willing to have me.
Yeah, you're one of us now. You're a mentalist. So we'll end the show there. We will try and reschedule an interview with Rick Horn because he's come back and said we can redo it again. So we'll try and do that. And we were due to have UFC veteran Aaron Riley on today's show, but he's asked to reschedule. So I'm going to try and get him on next week's show as well. And other than that, I don't know who's going to be on because we basically make it up as we go along. So we will find out next week.
Hey, that's all the fun right there. And thanks again to Jim Wallhead, to Dustin Ortiz, Ramsey Najem, Aaron